Former Mike Pero Group CEO Mark Collins made a big change in his work at the beginning of this year. Appointed head of the charity Child Fund, he came in at a time when COVID had taken a heavy toll on the non-profit sector and had to change its way of doing things. NBR's Dita Deboni spoke to Collins and asked him how and why the revenue model had been changed.
We are at our core a child sponsorship model, and we have been for many, many years, and it's a great model. It's a really great long-term funding model with deep connections between the children and the sponsors. However, we do have a slightly ageing population with that. The average age is around 65, and we were finding that we weren't getting the younger people wanting to engage in the same way. So part of it is around how do we engage with younger people. They have different things that they find that they want to fund, that they care about. The other part that we're looking at is things like corporates. Corporates are now far more focused than they used to be on ESGs, on B Corp. They're getting both shareholders and customers saying, what are you doing to make the world a better place, which I think is fantastic. So that is a piece of work that we're doing on top of that. We also have had not a lot of success in impact investing, social impact investing especially. And there is a real movement towards I'm maybe willing to take a slightly lesser return as long as there's a social impact that comes with that. And so we're starting to experiment with that sort of world as well.
So coming from the corporate world, you have a specific way that you think for-purpose organisations should approach that world.
Yeah, I do. Look, and in my personal example, I've been approached by charities in most of my organisations, and I'm very, very focused on that, which is why obviously I'm in this sector. And I've found that what charities tend to do is they pitch with what their charitable outcomes are, the clients or children in our case that we serve, which is obvious, like you would do that because that's what you're passionate about. But what you're asking a corporate to do then is choose between both well-deserving outcomes. And I think that makes it a very difficult decision. What I think for-purpose organisations like mine need to do is think about what is it that the corporate or the organisation wants to get out of it, and how do we align our values and our outcomes. So looking at it from what's in it for them, and then how can we provide that.
What is in it for them, apart from being able to use your logo on their company report and so forth?
Yeah, I think the big thing is, if depending on the organisation, is the new customer set. So there's a whole pile of customers and shareholders now who are demanding that the organisation does more than just make profit. And so if you really care about, especially accessing, I would say, in the 25 to 35-year-old people, they're going to want to know that you're doing more. And I think you can actually then leverage that to get more customers rather than just support a cause. It's actually these people will go, yep, because you're doing that, I will come and join you versus your competitors. And I think that's the real core of it.
You've just recently been to Kenya and Zambia. Can you tell us some examples of what's happening up there and what you're actually what New Zealanders are funding there?
Yeah, so what's wonderful in both of those different things, and I've got a great story for one, is that we're not only just doing social development, we're doing economic development too, because those two have to dovetail together to create truly sustainable outcomes. And I met these wonderful women, they're called the Goat Women, but they obviously have names as well. And they were telling me about their story. And what we did was we gave 200 women 4 goats each. And the idea was that they bred the goats, they looked after the goats, and then they could create a sustainable income from either their milk or their meat. They then handed it on to 200 other women, and that's been done 4 times. So 800 women have had the benefit of this. The ones I met were the original goat women, and they showed me where they stored the goats, how they did it. They've built so much income that they've actually started to pool their income. They've started their own village bank where they lend money to each other, and then it's 20% interest rate, so they're pretty savvy. But they all then share that back amongst their community. Now, so many of those women's children, 800 plus about thousands of children, can now go to school. Because in Zambia you need a uniform to go to school. So if you don't have a uniform, you can't go. Now they can. So now we've had to build schools to actually support that. And it's just fantastic. They're saving up now to build a mill because the maize that they've planted, it needs to be ground so they can sell that as well. And it's just these women are just so entrepreneurial and so happy. And they just, all they did it was with 4 goats. And one of them told me the story I'll never forget. They said, my son is going to university now because you gave me 4 goats.
Wow, that's
and
incredible.
Just amazing.
Yeah. Just briefly, your move from corporate to for purpose. Just tell us about that.
So I've always wanted to give back in whatever corporate that I did. In my first CEO role, we interacted with and partnered with a charity. We had the Mike Pero Foundation in my last job. I just think I've always believed that corporates and organisations should give back to the communities that sustain them. So when COVID came along, you kind of think about one day I'll do that. It actually just sharpened up my thinking and said, if I'm going to do it, I should do it now. And Child Fund is a massively cool organisation. There are many good charities, but I'm very proud to have moved over here and work with a great bunch of people doing great things for the world.
Mark, thank you very much.
Thank you.